Hi, I'm Joshua Martin, and in this month's Property Intel Power Up, we're going to take a look at using Property Intel for irrigation. Property Intel can be used for lots of things related to irrigation work, particularly doing irrigation layouts or designs. You can also use the system for creating zone maps to be able to give to your customers or to your crew, or even use reference maps for doing things like irrigation inspections. Today in this Power Up, I want to look at using Property Intel to do irrigation layouts and designs, and particularly looking at how you would use the system to do something like an addition to an irrigation system for an enhancement sale that you might be trying to make with a customer or giving in a customer for an improvement. And so I want to do this by showing how to do that from also launching from Aspire and with our using our Aspire integration to make streamlining, estimating, and doing the design quick and fast. So here I have this estimate already created. I've been to the site, I've looked at, I know what we're doing. We're going to be adding in a zone of irrigation to be able to irrigate some annual beds. And so as the estimator, I know the major components that I'm going to need. And so really the last thing to be able to do is to lay out that irrigation so I can have an accurate estimate. And so to do that, I would go from my ellipsis menu here at the top. We would click Open in Property Intel to start creating that project from that estimate. Now, since I already had the items added to that estimate, I don't need to use a template. I'm going to create the project without a template, and I'm going to do it from the aerial image so I can easily lay out that irrigation system from the aerial image. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so we can see the area, particularly be zoomed into the area that we're going to be working in, and click Create Project. So you can see here, this is that the high resolution imagery. If you needed to be able to switch around, if you wanted a better picture, you can switch around the different imagery sources. So in this case, I may go to Near Map. It's going to give me a little bit more recent picture with the January of this year, but still a great picture to look at and to have a lot of detail to be able to lay out this irrigation system. So you can see that all my items are here on the left from my Aspire estimate. And so the last thing I need to do is simply lay out this irrigation system. So to start laying out heads, I can go to my spray heads. To activate it, to draw it, click one time. It's going to start drawing the heads. One of the things that's helpful for laying out irrigation system is our distance guides. And so I can toggle this on. I can do that by clicking this toggle over here on the left, or I can hit D on my keyboard, which is a keyboard shortcut. And so what this does is going to allow you to start to see distances. So especially for irrigation, when you're trying to achieve head-to-head coverage, you can kind of get an idea and know where you need to lay out these heads to be able to do it. And so I can click here, and since this is annual beds, we want good coverage. I'll put one here in the middle if I have a center strip nozzle. So I can do the same, moving over quickly to lay out the heads for this particular flower bed. Do this on this side. All right, so that's the heads laid out. I can hit escape to kind of close out drawing that. One thing maybe to note, though, before I move on to laying out the pipe is looking at the icons. And so within Property Intel, we do have a lot of customized icons specifically for irrigation. And so you can look at those here. If you wanted to change something to match more of how you might be used to seeing it, how your crew would be used to seeing it, you can do that here. You can choose any of these, and you can change the color, customize the size, however you want to be able to have a good, clear diagram. And so now to start drawing my lateral lines to show where my pipe runs are going to be, I can activate my lateral line material, and I can simply click to be able to draw those. I'm going to place the valve here next to this existing valve because I know I've got existing wire and mainline pipe there. So when I want to change direction, I can just simply double click, or I can press enter, and that's going to end that current line segment. And then I can easily move over to pick up where the next one is, so where we're going to run in underneath the road, be able to quickly click to draw. I'm clicking every time I want to change directions. And then again, when I want to move to a whole nother segment, I would double click. Then I can move and run that other. So we'll run this last little bit across here. And And then the last thing I need to do is I need to place my valve. So like I said, we're going to place it over here next to these existing ones. And then here we have just a really simple, easy to understand irrigation diagram that's laid out, ready for, I could show the customer if I wanted to, but also have this plan ready to give the crew. Then the last step is really just to produce the estimate. And so because this was connected to Aspire, this Aspire tab is up here in the top right. I can click see data with Aspire. You can see that the groups and services are already configured because they were configured in the estimate, confirm and sync. And then it's going to send all that information and data over to the Aspire estimate to where it will estimate and price that job. So you can see here where the estimate summary changed. If I head over to my Aspire tab, I can refresh it and also see that particular estimate within here. So it's quick and easy, ready to do a proposal. You can export the proposal out of Aspire. You can export out the export view from PropertyIntel, where you could give the plan to the customer if you wanted to show exactly what you're doing. So PropertyIntel has a lot of different use cases for irrigation. This is just one particular one. If you have any questions, let us know, and thank you for listening.